Hey guys, Jason here. Just wanted to come and talk with you a little bit about something we talked about earlier this week. I took a picture while I was on my way out from work one day out of the office, and took a picture of snow. And it's a picture that you're going to see right below this video on the post. And it wasn't just any snow, it was a snow that frustrated me. I mean, it flat out aggravated me. I could not stand seeing the snow because we had seen it so many times before. So I'm trying to leave the office. The office is right in the middle of downtown Nashville, in the heart of Nashville, Music Row District. Um, all of Nashville in that area is gridlocked. You can't go anywhere. And I'm there, stuck in traffic. And as I sit there, going forward about a car length in about 30, 45 minutes worth of time, I'm getting more and more frustrated. And I'm seeing the people that are going out putting salt down on the ground, and I'm hearing them talk to other people and laugh and say, well, you're going to be here a while, so we'll come back around about 6:30 and bring you dinner if you need to. Ha, ha, ha. And I'm thinking, not funny. I want to see my wife. I want to see my kids. And I've been at the office all day, and here it is now, probably an hour and a half after I should have left, and I've not made it any more than a car length. And I knew my wife was going to be calling soon. She's going to be asking, baby, where are you? So I decided that I was going to do the right thing and let her know. So I took a picture of where I was at. And that's the picture that you see right here. Um, and it was, to try to show her, you see the ramp going up off to the right. That's all the cars that are waiting to get up ahead of me. And I'm here, and here's all the snow, and here's what the parking lot looks like. And, I'm frustrated, but I'm going to get home to you as soon as I can. Well, that didn't happen. You see, um, getting home came at a cost of me having to spend the next hour or so just to make it at least a mile, because I had to get up that ramp, and it was slippery, and everyone was falling behind and struggling to get up there. They had guys that were up at the top having to push vehicles over, to get up to the top, including mine. So I get, about a mile away, and my wife calls, and where are you? And I knew it was going to happen. And she called, and she said, where are you? And I told her, I said, well, I'm in Nashville. I'll be home in a bit, downtown Nashville. She said, okay, well, where exactly are you? I said, well, I'm where I would be if I had been leaving the office and driving about 30 seconds. I'm there right now. And she knew it was going to be bad. And of course it was, because so many people were slipping and sliding all over the streets. And, I'm losing traction, just saying, God, please let me just get up this little bit. It wasn't even a hill. It's just a little slight incline. Those slight inclines seem so big and so huge when you're upset and when you're not getting any traction. So there I am, trying and trying and trying. And I finally get to the interstate, and the interstate, of course, it's not any better. Interstates are, I'm doing about 15 miles an hour on the interstate on the way home, and it doesn't look like things are going to be good because I'm in a foul mood. I'm hating life for anyone that's there in front of me that puts on their brakes, and I'm going, no, I'm going to lose traction. Why are you doing this? So I finally make it home 4 hours later. And as I'm sitting down, kind of debriefing the day, I go back and I look at this picture that I took. And now that things are okay, now that I'm safe and in the comfort of my own home, I'm in the warmth, I've got my wife there, my kids are there. I look at the picture. And the picture that I once looked at to say, here's how bad my day is going, I looked at it and said, wow, that is beautiful. The way the snow is coming down, the way the snow is just, so perfectly white across the parking lot, the way the white reflects off of, the beautiful Union Station that's behind, it's beautiful. And I start realizing God's world is beautiful. It just depends on what we have as our perspective. Reminds me of a story that I heard just this past week. And in this story, it was about a woman who was running late for her flight to wherever she's going, and she hasn't eaten, so she goes off and she gets this pack of cookies. And it's the only thing that she can pay, but it's the only thing she can get. And of course, she probably paid 10 times more than what those cookies would have been sold for anywhere else because she's at the airport. She gets these cookies and she runs to get to her gate and then finds out it's a little bit delayed. So, she's got a little time. She sits down and she starts thinking about her trip, the itinerary, and everything else. And she starts thinking about those cookies. And all of a sudden, just when she's getting ready to grab some of the cookies, this elderly man that's sitting next to her reaches over and grabs her pack of cookies, grabs that pack of cookies sitting right in front of her, and opens it up, takes a cookie out. And as he takes his cookie out, he starts to savor it. And he eats it right in front of her. And she's thinking, wow, the nerve. I mean, the nerve that this guy would actually go to the extreme that he would take my cookies and eat them. So she didn't say anything. Instead, she decided to, reach over and grab her cookies again. So she takes the cookies and she reaches in there and she gets one and she eats it. She puts it back down and she thinks, surely this man's not going to sit there after realizing that. Maybe he's going to put one and one together and go, oh, those aren't mine, so I shouldn't be touching them. So she puts them down, and a few minutes later, the old man just kind of looks over and smiles at her, reaches back into the bag, grabs another cookie. She's thinking, what are you doing? You're eating my cookies. Why in the world would you eat my cookies? So this goes on and on until all of a sudden she reaches into the bag and there's only 2 cookies left and she grabs the next to the last cookie. She's just waiting for it. Surely he's not going to take her last cookie. So the man reaches into the bag, sure enough, and he grabs out that last cookie, takes and breaks it in half, puts the other half back in the bag, and then smiles and looks over at her, and then eats the last half of the last cookie. The woman is furious. She reaches in the bag, grabs a cookie, crumples up the bag, gets ready to throw it away, and they call for her to board. And of course, they boarded the elderly gentleman first, and she's sitting there just fuming. She gets ready to get out her boarding pass as she's walking up, and she reaches in to get her boarding pass, and you've probably already guessed. She pulls out her pack of cookies that she bought. Now, there she was a few minutes ago thinking, how selfish are we? How selfish am I that he is that he's going to grab my cookies and run with them? Man, do you think she got a wake-up call to realize that maybe she's the selfish one that can't seem to get past? It's a pack of cookies. Even if it was her pack, maybe the man was equally hungry. Why not give? So many things to think about in this, but one of the things that I want us to truly think about as worship leaders is this. We tend to have our own frustrations about things because of perspective. And our perspective sometimes may be that things aren't going well, that maybe we've had a really bad rehearsal and we're just anticipating that things aren't going to look well for Sunday, or maybe the first service didn't go so great on Sunday and we're thinking that, second service is going to be a train wreck too. Maybe all these thoughts go on inside of our minds. And maybe, just maybe, it's kind of like my trip home, where we look out and we see things as a worst case scenario. And we take the slightest little hills, and they become so hard because we're so frustrated. Our perspective may not be the same as somebody else's perspective. In fact, it may be that bad day that you're having, that really rough time that you're having with something in your life, doesn't necessarily convey out to somebody else, because it's not about your perspective. Maybe it's about that person's perspective. Because maybe there's one person that's out there in the congregation that's looking at this whole thing that we call worship, this whole song and dance of realizing that, God is engaged in a dance with us, and we've got all the sin and everything else that separates us away from Him, yet there He is still saying, please, come dance with me. And that one person is able to connect, despite the rough perspective that we have. Keep in mind that there's a perspective greater than yours. There's the perspective of God, and that God wants us fully and honestly worshiping. Think about that perspective the next time you get ready to drive home in a snowy, icy situation, and realize that you can still step back and take a snapshot and realize that God has made a beautiful creation, and you're a part of that. God bless.